Hi, this is Dr. Darwin, the new dentist coach, with another episode of Ask Dr. Darwin on the New Dentist podcast show, where we bring you information, answers to questions about becoming a dentist, as a new dentist, whether it be as a dental student or even as it being a resident. And then we talk about life after residency, and that's the topic of today. Today, this show today is about life after residency. You're gonna get some tips about why residency is important. You're going to be getting some tips on how it prepares you for practice. And you're going to get some advice as to what to do if you're contemplating residency, how to make sure you make your residency as the best that you can in preparation for going into private practice and things like that. So be sure to stay all the way through the end of the video. We've got some announcements that we're going to make, and also some good pearls at the end of the video. So stay all the way through, okay? Today we're joined with Dr. Corey Black. Hey, Doc, how you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going, Doc?
Very good. It's going good now that we finally got a chance to connect. It's been a while.
It has been a while, a couple months.
Yeah. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Dr. Corey Black. I'm originally from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I went to the University of Pittsburgh for undergrad, took 2 years off in between undergrad and dental school, started dental school in 2013, and then graduated last year, but it feels like a lot longer, 2017.
2017, okay, all right. From Pitt?
Yeah, from Pitt. Currently I'm in Brooklyn. I decided to do a residency in Brooklyn, and then once residency was over, I decided to stay in New York for a year. Just to kind of get a feel for the city and see what it's like to be a dentist in New York. So that's what I'm right now, trying to figure it out. Okay. So residency. Now, most people know that residency is not required. Not required, at least as a dentist. For medicine and medical students, it's kind of like part of their rites of passage, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But for us, it's not required. And even though the trends recently have been that, maybe about 40% of people will do a residency, but not everybody is doing a residency for various reasons. Some people maybe don't do it because they think it's a waste of time. Some people don't do it because they may think that they're completely prepared for life after dental school already, so that they don't want to do it for those reasons. So tell us a little bit about what were your reasons for doing it. Okay, so in dental school, I felt very prepared didactically in terms of like the knowledge, the academics. I felt like the University of Pittsburgh prepared me very well, but clinically, I had a bunch of cases, but I did not feel like I was prepared enough to be a productive doctor for any office. And so when I graduated, I remember feeling like there was still a lot more that I needed to learn. In dental school, I remember, you're under the guidance of your clinical instructors. Right. So there's really no independence there. So for me, it was just kind of like walking out on a limb if I was going to go and just apply for a job straight out. In Pennsylvania, you don't need residency.
Right.
So I could have, applied to any job in Pennsylvania and potentially worked there. But the reality is that I was not prepared. Also, I didn't have the privilege of having like a friend or family member in dentistry at that time. And so I didn't have someone who would, I guess, take me under their wing and just kind of show me what it's like to be in private practice and like enhance my clinical skills. So I figured a residency would be the best thing. I also wanted to live in New York, just to kind of live it up for a year, just to see what it's like. And so it just made sense for me to just go ahead and proceed with the residency application process.
Now, I will tell you, that's a very, very one popular reason why a lot of people are doing residencies in New York, because they've never lived in New York before. Right. They want to get a piece of the energy and the atmosphere, and living in New York, at least for the first time. And I will tell you, man, I've got some previous residents that have stayed in New York. One of them actually is getting ready to open up a practice in the city, and it's not uncommon for a lot of people to do that. So so that's good. So sound like you got some of that bug.
Definitely, which is, I'm still here.
That's right. That's right.
I
Okay.
was in Pittsburgh. I was in Pittsburgh for so long, and I felt like Pittsburgh is a great city, but I felt like it was lacking in certain areas. And so when I moved here, specifically to Brooklyn, it literally has everything that I've always wanted. And
Oh
so
yeah.
I'm I want to stay, but it's just so many other factors that kind of go into that decision.
Right, right. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute too. So what did you like best about your residency? What were the best things, at least for you, but what are the things that stood out?
Okay. So if you guys don't know, I went to Kings County Hospital to do my GPR, general practice residency. And it was pretty intense. So I'd say the best parts about residency were, the fact that there was a lot of independence. So that independence that was lacking in dental school, it was there in residency. But we also had like really good attendings who were there to basically kind of guide us through whatever we wanted to do. I think, to be honest, Kings County GPR is probably one of the best in the country, just because it's like you see so many patients per day. So in dental school, we see maybe 2, 3 if you're ambitious. But in residency, we jump from 2 to like 15 to 20. And you have to work fast, so you pick up speed very quickly. On top of that, if you have any interest or desire, like if you're interested in specializing, but you haven't really had exposure, at King's, the patients are there. So if you want to practice some perio surgeries, if you want to do molar root canals, if you want to do implants, oral surgery, you can do it. And so I was fortunate enough to try all those different things to figure out whether or not general dentistry was for me or if I wanted to go into a specialty. So I can say now at this point in my career, I'm super comfortable with surgery and implants and things like that, which I find a lot of new doctors are not, just because they don't get that exposure in residency. So I love all those things about it.
Right. That's good, man. Well, that's what residency is for. It's supposed to give you some more exposure, get your speed up, and give you some more, some more exposure to some various procedures that maybe you haven't done, or maybe you saw in dental school, but now you're hands-on, you're in the chair, you're the surgeon, you're the person that's actually doing them.
So
and you're
true.
doing them under the guidance of some experienced practitioners. So that's good.
Yeah. I remember in dental school specifically, surgical extractions, for example. If the extraction became surgical, you go get the surgery resident. You never touch the drill. You never flap or cut the bone. You never do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember when I started residency, I was like very intimidated by that process, just because it was like, in dental school, it's almost kind of drilled into your mind that this is beyond what you're able to do. But literally within the first month, I was just kind of thrown in there. Now surgical extractions are kind of second nature at this point.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. And as GPs, we're kind of like the quarterback of oral health care as relates to, treatment planning and procedural work. And if there are needs for referrals, we can refer it out and manage the case that way. So it's good that you had that experience to give you that type of exposure. Keep in mind, you're still going to be learning, though. I'm sure you're learning now, right?
Every single day, honestly, every day.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now, well, before that, tell us how you think, based on what you're doing now, how residency prepared you for what you're doing now.
Okay, so currently, what I'm doing right now is I am an independent contractor, and so I work at 4 different offices. About to start at another one. So
wow,
it's pretty crazy, right? It's like a different office every day, and then another one every other Saturday. So I work literally all over the city. I'm in Coney Island, obviously in Brooklyn, the Lower East Side, literally commuting all over the place, and doing general dentistry. But the cool thing is, like, because I had so much exposure and experience in residency, I'm able to bring, like, for example, implants. I'm working in a Medicaid office in the Lower East Side, and literally 2 days ago, we did an implant. And, I'm able to kind of grow the practice in that way. If I didn't have that experience in residency, 100% I would not be comfortable doing surgeries without any type of guidance. So that's one thing. Also, like molar root canals, those are like the dreaded thing in dentistry, right? Nobody really wants to do it. But, the reality is that because I've seen so many cases, I'm more comfortable, more confident when approaching those cases. So, like, those skills definitely translate over from residency into practice. And I'm happy I made the decision to go into residency for that reason, in retrospect.
Right, right. Yeah, that's one of the things we tell our residents too, and everybody that we come across. Molar endo. Molar endo is one of the things that, if you don't have that experience in dental school, you got to do a residency so you can get exposure to it. Why? Because two things that come up, two questions you'll always have on interviews. Number one, how comfortable you are with rotary endo. Number one,
Yep.
right? Number two question is, how long does it take you to do a molar root canal?
I literally get asked that question every interview I go to.
Oh, I know. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And if you're coming out of dental school and you haven't had that experience, even if you've done it as a residency, it still may not be as much as most other people have, but still it's something. You have that exposure, and that's another reason why residency is so important. So you're an independent contractor. Now that is very interesting.
Yes.
It's very interesting because I think there's some misconceptions about what a true independent contractor is versus what maybe an office is labeling you as, but also what they're telling you to do or what they're not telling you to do. So tell us a little bit about that designation, and tell us how you came to the decision to label yourself or incorporate yourself as an independent contractor.
So, now that you say that, I don't know if I'm a true independent contractor if we're going by the definition, right? I don't have a PLLC or LLC. I don't have my own corporation at this point. But in some of the offices, I get paid, by 1099, and then some of the other ones is W-2. So I guess I'm kind of like a hybrid employee, right? It's kind of weird. But what's interesting is like, I'm kind of forced to do the research to figure out what all these things mean. One of the offices is almost like pressuring me to open up my own PLLC, just because of like tax issues and things like that. It's super complicated, and it's one of those things that you're not necessarily prepared for this in school. And even in residency, maybe you have a lecture or two, but you're not equipped to kind of go into it and figure these things out. So I'm trying to figure it out now. I'm looking for people to talk to. I'm looking for a personal accountant to figure out if it's more beneficial for me to just kind of, get paid the way that I'm getting paid now, or to kind of incorporate and open up my own company. We'll see. To be continued.
To be continued. Well, you know what? We're going to continue a little bit of it next time we talk. But I've got some people you need to talk to. One of them, I think Dr. Anthony Johnson is a pediatric dentist. I think he's your fraternity brother, I think. He's a Sigma down in, he's from New York, but he lives in Maryland. He's a pediatric dentist. But him,
I know Tony. Yeah.
With him and two other classmates that are in the Maryland area, they have an accountant that they work with, and I'm sure they would love to, get you connected with that guy, because that's key. Knowing the difference between being a true independent contractor or a W-2 employee is key. It's key more so for you, so that you protect yourself and making sure that you don't get caught out there.
So true.
Don't get caught out there. And it's sometimes it's more convenient for the office to do a 1099 for you. I mean, for them, but for you, it could be kind of tricky.
Tricky is the word.
So, your DDS or your DMD stands for doctor. It doesn't stand for David Copperfield. We don't want you trying to do no magic with the dentistry that you're doing. So we want to make sure that you get that straightened out, because that's key. And a lot of new dentists get thrown in that situation is just because not knowing, just not having the information, and also not wanting to say no, maybe because there's pressure externally in your pocket to make sure that you're making some money so you can live, but also pay off your loans, right?
You hit the nail right on the head. That's exactly the situation that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
I would love to talk to whoever you refer or recommend, just to get some more information, because to be honest, I've been doing my own research, but I feel like there are a lot of things that I still don't know. Yeah.
Well, we got you covered, man. We got some people in our New Dentist Development Network that can help you with that issue. and kind of look at your situation, make some recommendations so that you're covered all the way around, 360 degrees all the way around, okay?
Yep.
So you're doing that now, and so knowing what you know right now, you've been out for over a year, been working multiple of these offices, you did a residency. Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give new dentists that are contemplating residency or getting ready to finish residency and go into private practice?
Okay. So for dental students who are contemplating residency, I would say if you're contemplating it, do it. You know, follow your intuition. If your gut is telling you that you're not experienced or you're not comfortable enough to, you know, work for someone and actually be a productive dentist, then I'd say go ahead and do it. And make sure you do thorough research and figure out what that residency program has to offer you. The reality is a lot of these residency programs are almost like a 5th year of dental school. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's almost not even worth your time to do it if you're not going to, you know, enhance your clinical skills. So definitely do thorough research, talk to a bunch of people who completed those residency programs and figure out, you know, if they felt like it was beneficial to them. And to be honest, most dentists will tell you, yes, do this program, or no, it was a terrible experience. So definitely do that. And then for, I guess, dentists who are in residency about to kind of proceed into the adult world, the real world, I would recommend just like planning ahead, you know, making sure you're always like figuring out what the next step is so you don't get stuck in a situation where, you know, you're in a job that you're not 100% happy with. And I think that was probably one of the biggest mistakes I made. While I was in residency, I was like, oh, it'll be fine. You know, it'll all work out. And then whenever I finished, I found that it's very difficult to find like the ideal office for me. So I wish that I would have started doing the research sooner and applying for different jobs, interviewing, so that I would have had more options when it was time to actually make the decision where I was going to work.
Gotcha. Okay, that's some good stuff, man. Planning ahead. I think that's key. A lot of people just feel like they don't have the time because they're so busy, you know, trying to think of what they're going to do. And you got that pressure right on your neck.
Yep.
Probably on both sides of your neck like this. You got loans. You got these loans to pay off. What are the loans at? What's the tuition like at Pitt?
I believe it was like $47,000 at the time that I finished, and then, you know, I took out more for living expenses. So it was about 50 something per year, which really isn't bad compared to some of my co-residents. You know, so for me it was about 250,000.
Yeah.
Compared to like NYU is 500.
Yep, it's about 500. Tufts 500. Columbia probably about the same amount. So, you know, that's another reason why a lot of people are, you know, so skeptical about planning ahead or don't realize the importance of planning ahead, because those loans command a lot of attention, and but you'll be remiss to not plan ahead because so that you can handle the loans and manage that, but also manage your life and where you want to be in 5 and 10 years. That's so key. So tell us a little bit about. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say. I mean, that's so true. I mean, the reality is that like I feel it more here in New York than I think if I was like back home in Harrisburg, just because everything here is so expensive. And
yeah.
Okay, so once you pay for the student loans, and then you pay rent, right? Which is like a loan payment in itself, right? And then you pay for everything else, all other living expenses. It's like, at the end of the day, how much money is actually going into the savings account? So for people who, you know, they're considering working in New York, you have to, you know, think about that and consider that. The reality is that it's more expensive here. Taxes are higher here. So at the end of the day, there's less money in your pocket.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. That makes sense, man. That makes sense. So we're going to wrap it up. I just want to talk a little bit about, I know that there's a couple projects that you're working on. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so one thing, I guess one of the benefits of working in New York City is like the fact that you can work in offices that have like unique characteristics. So one of the offices I work at is basically like a place where celebrities go. And so I've been kind of fortunate to work with celebrities that I've kind of watched on TV growing up. And I've been able to kind of do some of their treatment, which is crazy. And, you know, complex treatment, extractions, implants, and all of that. So that's like a really cool thing that I'd say I'm kind of working on now. It's like a unique experience that obviously like not a lot of dentists get the opportunity to do. Also, I'm in the process of figuring out if I'm going to move from the city. I know it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but you know, I'm weighing all these decisions. I'm thinking about going back home to my hometown in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, because I think I have a duty there. I think I have a duty to serve the community that kind of raised me and helped me get my degree. And so I think there's a lot of potential there. A lot of people would show support. And then I think it would also be more rewarding. I think I would be more valued. I would feel more valued there. My work would be more rewarding in itself.
That's great, man. That's great. Hey, we've got some people that you can definitely talk to about setting up a practice and getting new patients. One of my colleagues, Dr. Evelyn Samuel, with the Efficiency Institute, does just that, helping people kind of plan their way to a new practice and getting new patients in their office and kind of setting up that initial office, and so that you have a nice soft landing that's really efficient, but also productive for you. So we'll get you connected with her as well. That's great, man. So you got a lot going on, man. Independent contractor, new dentist, working on celebrity patients, thinking about opening up in your own office. So this is what life is about after residency, huh?
Yes, it's, you know, there are pros and cons. You know, I definitely have my stressful days, but I'm excited to be on the journey. You know, that's my thing. It's all a part of the process.
Right.
And then hopefully one day I can be like you and reach back and help other new doctors transition much more easily.
Well, you're doing it right now, man. I'm so glad we found some time and we're able to connect, because just the advice and things that you're sharing about your story is going to help a lot of people that are looking up to you and things that others are doing like yourself, so that they can kind of chart their course as well. So, hey, man, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate you. We'll get you connected with those people as well. And if you guys want to hear more of from people like Dr. Corey Black that are transitioning from life after residency, or other people that are specializing and have gone that path, or opening up offices, please shoot me an email right here at newdentistcoach@gmail.com. Also, be sure to check out the next video. I think it's going to be right there. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Hey, Dr. Black, thanks so much, man. We'll talk to you soon. We'll stay in contact.
Definitely.
All right. Thanks.
Uh-huh.
Bye.